There's this incredibly paralyzing belief floating around right now. It's the idea that waiting for interest rates to drop is, without a doubt, your smartest financial move. Literally everyone tells you to just wait it out. But what if waiting is actually a massive, wealth-destroying mistake? Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the real math to completely bust this widespread myth.
So let me ask you something pretty direct. Are you sitting on the sidelines, renting right now, just holding out for that absolute perfect macroeconomic moment to buy? Because if you are, the data we're unpacking today might completely flip your perspective.
Look, here's the hard truth. Perfect market timing? It's a complete myth. Those flawless, ideal conditions you're waiting for almost never align in the real world. And honestly, waiting for the stars to perfectly cross is one of the absolute biggest wealth destroyers of our generation.
That brings us to Section 1. The waiting assumption. Let's break down exactly why so many of us falsely assume that a lower rate automatically equals a better deal, completely ignoring the rest of the board.
It's kind of like this fantasy scenario. Buyers are perpetually hunting for this magical trifecta, right? Low interest rates, rock-bottom property prices, and absolutely zero competition from other buyers. I mean, it sounds amazing, a real estate unicorn. But the math tells a wildly different story. The second rates actually drop. Competition instantly spikes, and poof, that unicorn completely vanishes.
People have literally been saying, "I'll just wait for rates to come down" for decades. It's a timeless trap. Just look back at the early 1980s. Mortgage rates hit a terrifying 15 or 16%. The people who got spooked by those headline numbers and decided to wait it out, they completely missed out on a massive, historic wave of property appreciation.
All right, let's move into Section 2. What actually happens? This is the harsh macroeconomic reality of what exactly happens to your buying power while you just sit and wait. So here's where macroeconomics meets reality. It's a phenomenon known as the lock-in effect. Federal Reserve data actually shows us that current homeowners are sitting super comfortably on older 2 or 3% mortgages. They absolutely refuse to sell because they don't want to lose those rates. And the result? Housing inventory stays artificially tight. That keeps prices high pretty much regardless of what interest rates are doing.
So the real, crucial comparison is this. Buying at 6.5% today versus holding out, hoping for 5% in 2 years. If you wait, you are almost guaranteed to face a higher purchase price and some brutal bidding wars. Any money you thought you were going to save on that slightly lower interest rate, it's almost instantly wiped out by the much higher price tag of the home.
Let's look at the brutal reality of the actual numbers. Data from Gin Mortgage shows that simply waiting for the calendar to turn can silently erase $60,000 to $80,000 of your borrowing capacity. Think about that. You have the exact same income, the exact same savings, but suddenly your buying power shrinks. That specific suburb you really wanted, suddenly it's completely out of reach.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the hidden cost of waiting. We really need to expose the staggering opportunity cost of delayed decisions.
Just take a look at this number, $68,744. That is what delaying a purchase for just 2 years costs a typical buyer in rent alone. That's nearly 69 grand, just gone forever. You're building absolutely zero equity, and meanwhile, property prices just keep drifting upward. Remember, as a renter, you are paying a mortgage either way. It's just someone else's.
So let's actually compare these two paths directly, side by side. If we run a 5-year mathematical race between a renter and a buyer, the true keys to building wealth over time become incredibly obvious. Notice how aggressively the gap grows here. Even starting with a 6.5% interest rate, the buyer starts pulling ahead almost immediately. Thanks to that powerful combination of principal paydown and property appreciation, the buyer's net wealth overtakes the renter's static savings account in just a few short years. It's not even close.
After just 5 years, the mathematical truth is honestly pretty shocking. The buyer is over $176,000 better off than the renter. And yes, that actually factors in all the hidden costs of owning, maintenance, property taxes, insurance, and even that higher interest rate. The wealth gap is massive, and from here, it only accelerates.
If you're finding this valuable, please subscribe to Wealth Lab and share this explainer with your friends and family. It really helps us grow. If we zoom out to the 10-year projection, you are looking at a mind-blowing 661% return on investment on your initial deposit. This basically cements the ultimate, undeniable rule of real estate. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time.
Let's shift gears into Section 4, making the right call. We're moving from all this macro math to a highly practical, personal framework so you can actually make a confident decision today.
The very first step in this framework is the affordability stress test. Please, don't just blindly trust standard bank pre-approvals. You really need to stress test your own personal budget. Ask yourself, could you comfortably make the monthly payments if interest rates hypothetically spiked to 8%? Because if the answer is yes, you are actually in an incredibly strong position to act right now. Here are the concrete metrics that should actually dictate your decision. Do you have a 10 to 20% deposit ready to go? Do you have a solid 6-month emergency buffer left over after closing costs? Is your job stable? And are you committed to staying in the area for at least 3 to 5 years? If you can check those boxes, you're ready. Honestly, the scary market headlines don't matter nearly as much as your own personal balance sheet.
You've probably heard that super catchy real estate bumper sticker, right? Marry the house, date the rate. Well, it sounds fantastic at a cocktail party, but it's actually quite dangerous if you haven't run your own math. You are committing to a 30-year amortization schedule, and you might not be able to just casually refinance out of it if rates don't magically drop exactly when you want them to. Remember, strategy always beats slogans. Buy what you can truly afford today.
So I want you to be totally honest with yourself. Are you actually waiting for a perfect market, or are you maybe just not personally ready yet? If your finances are truly ready, sitting on the sidelines is just bleeding your potential equity. It's time to stop waiting for the stars to align and start trusting your own math.
So, the next time someone tells you to just wait for rates to drop, ask yourself, can you really afford the hidden cost of waiting? Thank you for joining us today. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to Wealth Lab. We'll see you in the next one.